Good morning, traders. My focus for this Forex video is, of course, the usual currency pairs, the pound dollar, euro dollar, and dollar yen, but also the AUD New Zealand bull flag. For more info, of course, follow us at Twitter at Admiral Markets and at Chris Swarsik. First of all, though, be aware that this video is shown to a global audience but may not be suitable for everyone. Please visit admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact the appropriate entity for more details. Also, please be aware that trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered higher risk. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is for informational and educational purposes only. By continuing watching this video, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risk involved when trading. Alright, let's kick off the video with the dollar yen daily chart, looking basically at a retracement at the moment. Price is heading back to the bottom of the Admiral Keltner indicator, which is part of the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition, which has lots of other extra features, including these pivot points, by the way. So it looks like price is going back to support within an uptrend. We, of course, or the dollar yen broke already this resistance trend line, among others, and has been in a strong momentum to the upside. I think that this retracement is going to go back to the 38.2 fib, and there's a good chance of a bounce at one of these shallow fibs. I would say the 38.2 fib is the most logical, but it could go to the 50 as well. The long-term moving average is there. For the moment, I'm looking at a move down to the 38.2 fib though, at around 112. So that is my expectation, is that price will retrace back to it and then bounce. That retracement could, of course, not go directly down. It might see a bit of a bounce and then down, and then I would expect a turn at the 38.2 fib for an uptrend continuation. So what I'm looking for is bullish candlestick patterns on the 4-hour chart, for instance, at the 38.2 fib. There could also be a potential this week to look for a move down to the 38.2 fib as well. So I'm not necessarily have to wait for price to get down here. Also, I want to see candlestick patterns at the 38.2 fib. What could happen though is that what I'm looking for also is trading it down to that fib. So if you look at the 4-hour, 1-hour chart, basically price already broke through this bottom, which from my perspective, invalidates the upside bounce that could have occurred here as well. So a bit of retracement here, perhaps maybe up to the confluence point. There's a Keltner band, there's a pivot point. So there could be a turn at that spot, or the R1 for a follow through. So also a pattern, any bear flag like this or triangle like that, those could be patterns that are interesting for breakout to the downside like that. My invalidation spot is if price were to break above the resistance trend line like this, for instance. In that case, I'm not necessarily bearish anymore. That would indicate the potential for an upside continuation. All right, looking at the next one, for instance, the pound USD, we see a large gap here over the weekend, and price basically continuing with the downtrend we've seen already so far, and I think that that could be interesting for continuation. Now, for the moment, I'm a bit cautious. I think that it would be good to see some chart pattern first, and then a break of that pattern before trading it. Price is already accelerated beyond the S3 here at the moment of this current pivot points. I think that it's probably better. It's also challenging the 120 psychological barrier. So it's not a good spot, I think, to go short right at support. That's not something I intend to do. So I rather wait for more information from the market. I think it's best to discuss this one in the live webinar we'll have on Tuesday or tonight with Nenet. Let me show you. This is the webinar schedule, weekly recap with Nenet. On Mondays, of course. Tuesday, we take a look at price action and patterns. Live markets, we take a look at Tuesday morning. Wednesday, Nenet takes a look at harmonic patterns, and Thursday, Nenet and I together take a look at the president-elect policies, Trump, first 100 days, and the next week we take a look at trading systems based on indicators. Now regarding the euro dollar, let me move this mini terminal here so you can see it a bit better. Mini terminal, also part of the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition. If we look at the euro dollar, I can see basically a correction, support and resistance trend lines dominating the charts at the moment. It was a choppy week last week, kind of a heartbeat day where price is going up, down, up, down. At this moment, on the hourly chart, this is going sideways. So after a strong momentum, by the way. So if it does break this resistance, I do think there's a chance to make an upside. But I think this is going to be what could be called a false break. I think this is going to go nowhere. I think it's going to head into resistance and quickly turn around. And I think it will be a short-lived upside, kind of a fast push probably. And I would expect price to turn at with resistance, the R2 or R3, around 107.50, 107.25, 107.75. And head back into the downtrend. So I'll be looking for candlestick patterns at resistance here if it does break to the upside. Now if it doesn't, and if it breaks the S1 and the support trend line here, there could be a good intraday trade here down to the S2, S3. But most importantly, I think, is to see how price would react at support. Is it going to bounce up fiercely and then make a bull flag? Then it probably looks bullish up to that same targets, which I expect resistance. Or is it going to make, after this downside, is it going to make a bear flag or a triangle? Then a downside break would be very interesting. So at this moment, the euro dollar, I think, is in a tough spot. It's a correction. Corrections are always difficult. So I think it depends on the breakout and also the reaction to the breakout in both directions, really. So I know that's a bit of a cautious approach here, but with corrections, those things can be a bit choppy, and therefore an extra caution is never wrong. Last but not least, the AUD New Zealand. Now I'm looking at this one because I think it's an interesting bull flag pattern here. Price already broke out of the resistance trend line right there and made some upside gains. Now it's making a new bull flag, and I think that there could be a potential breakout above R1 to R2 and R3. Actually, it's bouncing off the pivot point right now. Looking at the hourly, that could be already maybe a bouncing spot as well. So here, or if it maybe tests these bottoms yet again, those could be turning spots and breakout spots for the AUD New Zealand. It looks pretty interesting from a daily perspective. You can see that price already bounced off deeper fibs off a weekly chart. There's a good momentum here as well. This looked like a correction, broke out of that correction, so there could be a continuation from that to test this top right here at 107.50. All right, there's big horizontal resistance right there. So it could test those levels, I think, looking at this daily chart. Last but not least, the Aussie. Last week we were looking at potential upside to retest resistance right in here. It did that and went a bit further actually through that zone slightly, but not breaking. Not breaking this top though. Now this is a bit of a tough spot because there's a lot of momentum here, and but also a strong resistance level. So I'm not sure who's going to win this battle. I think that no one knows at this moment. I'd rather wait for more information on this pair. I think that if price makes a bull flag like this, it could be ready for another break to the upside. If price shows strong momentum here, it could be making a bear flag as well after that for more downside. So, you know, there are of course a lot of events coming up. For instance, on the pound, it's good to note that Prime Minister Theresa May will be speaking. There are also inflation rates and unemployment rates coming up. Unemployment rates on the Aussie, for instance, and interest rate on the Canadian dollar and the European Eurozone. So those are things to be aware of as well, by the way. I think the AUDUSD is a tough spot at this moment. I would rather wait for more information, more chart patterns before having a favorite or before making an analysis that has a direction attached to it. Because at this moment, I think it could break both ways. At this moment, there's a daily upside momentum. You can see that clearly on the 4-hour chart. So I want to see here how it responds. Is it going to be a break of S1 or is it going to be a bull flag? Then there could be a break to the upside. More information, of course, on the website admiralmarkets.com. A lot of wave analysis, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, articles, opinion pieces. So I hope to see you there. And of course, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube as well. Wish you all great trading. Talk to you soon. Cheers.